Russel Moore wrote an article. I was really surprised by his answer. We'll get to it in a moment here. It's called "What I Would Change After 30 Years of Marriage." If you're not familiar, Dr. Russel Moore is the editor of Christianity Today. Prior to that, he was this is the longest title, president of the Southern Baptist Convention's Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission.
Goodness.
Mm-hmm.
They call it the ERLC because it's ridiculously long.
Obviously.
And so he has this little piece on this. But to get there, how much do you all remember about your wedding ceremony itself? So, like, Ron, can you remember the songs that were played, the Bible verses that were read, things like that?
No.
Any of it? Were you there?
I was there.
You were so captivated by Dana's beauty that you just forgot everything.
Exactly.
Yep.
I remember one of the things that we did, because she already had Ryan and Jenna, so they sang a song from Salty, the singing songbook.
This is the information we've needed.
Yeah, Ron, I don't remember anything. This is awesome. What song was it?
Well,
Oh my gosh.
in the Salty series, someone accepts Jesus and they sing to him, "Welcome to the family." Well, they sang that, to me.
Oh my
basically.
gosh, I'm gonna cry.
They sang it to you?
Ron,
Yeah.
I have actual tears in my eyes.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh.
And I was so impressed because Ryan is very dramatic and theatrical anyway, which showed later in life. But he was, I had no problem thinking he was going to sing. I kind of thought he might hold the mic away from Jenna, and just take the stage. But she sang loud and clear as well, and she's more of an introverted person.
How old were they?
Oh,
You remember?
wow.
Just estimate.
8 and 6.
Get out of
Probably
here.
younger than that.
I can't even.
Yeah.
I should have saved him to last.
Oh, wow. Doesn't matter what we did at my wedding.
Yeah. But all the rest, no. I remember Pastor Doug Davidson, who married us. We were in the back room, and Ryan was with me, and he made a point of saying, this isn't all about, your mom and Ron here. This is about you too, because you guys are bonding into this family as well. And I thought, good for you, Pastor. Make sure he understands he's important.
I bet that meant a lot to you that they did. Did you know they were going to do that?
No. Oh, the song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it was really cool.
I would have just become a puddle. Wow. And we haven't talked about it much. You'll and I have to decide off the air if that's what we want to do. But that was a big transition for your family. And wow, what a special story. I'm a little verklempt over here, a little flabbergasted at what to do. Do you remember the passage of scripture that was read?
Probably 1 Corinthians 13, but I'm not positive.
Classic.
Safe bet, yeah. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break because no one can follow that. And then maybe it'll lighten the mood for a moment, and the rest of us can share our stories, and we'll talk about Russel Moore's. Russel Moore wrote a piece with an unexpected answer, perhaps underwhelming, but we'll get to that in a minute here, about something he would change after 30 years of marriage. Right. But to get there, I'm just going around the horn here to figure out what we remember about our marriage ceremonies. We'll go next to the 31-year-old. Mm-hmm. How many years now married? 8. 8. Okay. And what do we remember about the marriage ceremony itself?
I remember who was there. I remember who...
Eddie was there,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I remember, elements of it, we had a friend come up and read a passage, I think.
What passage?
I don't know.
Isn't this interesting? I
just know
I can't remember ours
I
either.
know he was there, and he did that. And then we asked him to do that.
And it was a special honor for you to ask this person to do it.
Yes.
But the passage escapes you at the moment.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's my now, it was my best friend's now husband. They weren't married at the time.
Okay.
But they're married now. I know who played music. I know what the music was.
What was the music?
Well, he played jazz guitar.
Oh.
So I don't know what he played, but that was not my choice. I'm not the musician of the family, so.
And he just picked something and you're like, whatever you want, dear.
Yeah, I remember taking communion. We had everybody take communion, not just us.
Oh, did you? Okay.
But we passed around the elements to everyone that was there.
Big kiss at the end?
Yeah, obviously.
Real big kiss at the end?
No.
You're not that kind of person? No.
No, I wouldn't imagine.
You're lucky you let him...
Don't even touch me.
You let him kiss you at all?
Yeah, exactly.
You only had to because it's tradition.
Right.
Did you cry a little bit?
I cried when he read his vows, when I read mine.
You did custom vows.
We did customs.
You didn't do the, here comes the bride, followed by I'm reading traditional vows. Repeat
No.
after me.
Mm-mm.
You had me at hello.
I wasn't
Eddie
very traditional.
Cuevas.
I'm not very traditional. I wore Converse.
You wore
It
Converse?
was a big thing back in 2016.
Mhm.
Like what color were the Converse shoes?
Gray.
And then you had
I still have them.
then you must not have had a white dress then.
Yeah, I did.
But you did have a white dress.
Mhm.
It was like you did like a black dress or something.
No,
You didn't go goth for your
no,
wedding?
I did not.
What did you, do you remember some of your vows or
Not really. No, I'm sure I could go find them like on a Google Doc. But
you're the best ever, Eddie?
yeah,
Love you to
basically.
pieces.
Mhm.
I love you. What did you say to him again on that rooftop?
I love you and I never want to do life without you.
I hope you included that.
I don't remember.
It does become a blur, doesn't it? You
Mhm.
spend so much time and effort, and then you kind of forget most of it, and money sometimes.
I remember my niece was the flower girl. She was 2
No.
2.5, and she didn't even throw flowers. She just ran down the aisle.
She
just ran.
That's sometimes the best part when a little kid
Yeah.
does stuff like that. Oh, Daria, you have the least amount of excuses to remember.
And yet I don't.
How many years now?
Three.
Three.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You don't remember the passage you shared?
I forget the exact scripture reference, but it was I think one of the songs, "My Cup Runs Over."
Oh, good.
So we did that one. My wedding day really is a blur. I do remember the pastor was we did traditional vows, and so he's guiding Jimmy through it, and like reading his long spiel, and Jimmy just couldn't wait. He just goes, "Yes, be quiet, hurry up."
Like for the last one or for?
No, just he just interrupts him. He's like, "Just stop talking. Yes, I do. Please let me marry this woman."
So great. Oh, I love Jimmy the more I learn about him. That's so great.
So funny.
Did either of you get emotional or was it pretty?
Yeah, there's a picture of Jimmy's brother, who is the best man, pulling a wad of tissues out of his pocket and handing it to me.
Oh,
Yes.
Daria. Now you love music. You're a musician. Do you
Yeah.
remember the songs?
Yeah, I do. So we walked down the aisle, or I walked down the aisle to. It was a more acoustic version of "Heaven" by what's his face.
I love that guy. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, my favorite, obviously, Brian Adams.
Oh, by Brian. Interesting
Yeah.
choice.
And then, so yeah, there's like some band did like a really pretty acoustic cover version. So we did that. And then our first dance was to Alison Krauss, "When You Say Nothing at All."
Oh, beautiful choice. What was your first dance, Lauren?
I have no idea.
Was there dancing? Was that
We
allowed?
did.
You don't know your first dance?
No.
I know mine. Ron, did you? What
I
was
don't
your
even know
first
if Eddie
dance?
would know.
tune?
I'd have to ask.
Oh, I should know. Stephen Curtis Chapman. And
I Will Be Here?
Yes. I was stuck on Cinderella, and I go, no, that was
Older,
with my
yeah.
daughter, but
I did an arrangement for my brother of a Stephen Curtis Chapman song for his ceremony. I think it was that one. I don't remember.
Mhm.
For me, it wasn't about our first dances. Right before that, Eddie surprised me and sang to me.
Oh.
Okay.
So I remember
What did
that.
he sing?
The Way You Look Tonight, and a mashup with something else that I can't remember right now.
And you were a puddle?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Because it was a surprise to literally me and to all my bridesmaids, because he couldn't tell any of them because he knew they would tell
right.
me.
So he got up with a guitar
Yep.
and you just started weeping?
I have a video of it. I can send it
What
to you.
a move, Eddie.
Yeah.
Gosh. I wish I was that smooth.
I know, right?
Mhm.
I don't
I'm
have.
not,
Well, I mean,
obviously.
yeah. You didn't have to say that. For me, I don't remember the passage of scripture we picked.
Mm-mm.
I think I know who read it. Not totally sure on that. I do remember a couple things. I cried like a giant baby. She was
Good.
fine.
That
she-
tracks.
Yeah, I said like, oh, allergies. My shoulders were like shaking or
no.
something, you know. And then we did did you guys do a unity candle? That was big when I got
No.
married. You familiar with the tradition?
Yes.
Mhm.
And we leaned in after we lit the unity candle to kiss, and everyone was like,
Because of her hair?
no, because you're not
Oh.
supposed to kiss yet.
Oh, I was just
Mhm.
scared that her hair was going to.
Right,
catch on
exactly.
fire.
No, it's not that dramatic. It was like you're supposed to wait till the end, and
Oh.
we stopped ourselves, and then. Sorry to disappoint you with my wedding. And then
But audibly, they gasped.
yeah, and then
And that's how you knew you shouldn't do that?
and then they giggled when we like almost kissed and didn't because they're like, oh, look at them. They just can't
Oh,
keep
that's
their hands
cute.
off each other.
Oh.
And then we took communion, just the two of us. We thought that would be very special.
Mhm.
We knew we had a lot of people who were not believers who were coming to the wedding,
Mhm.
so we didn't want to do that part. You know what I mean? And then I'm very proud of my song choice. I chose it before I even knew her. Stevie Wonder, Ribbons in the Sky. If you're not familiar, go check it out. It's beautiful. Having Stevie Wonder at your wedding, essentially.
He was there himself.
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, essentially. I had a buddy sing the song who was really good, and he forgot an entire verse.
Oh.
Oh.
And he showed up
okay.
late to the wedding. Whole nother story.
Wow.
And our first dance was Etta James at last, because we're that cliche. But nonetheless, it was true. We were engaged for 2 years, and we couldn't wait for that to be over. By the way, if you want any tips from me, don't be engaged for 2 years.
That's a long time.
Really, really dumb. How long were you all engaged, Ron? You were engaged for 5 seconds?
Well, it was less than a year.
Less than a year?
About 9 months, I think.
Lauren?
4 months.
Just over a year for us.
And backing up. I mean, did you have to have your friend take pictures? How did you get anyone hired to do anything in 4 months?
I don't know.
You're just that good. You are that good.
We
She
did it.
is.
We know that you're that good. Why am I questioning this? 4 months.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow. It's amazing. Okay. Russel Moore, what I would change after 30 years of marriage, it was his piece. And I was like, here it is. He's going to air all of his dirty laundry. Russel Moore, finally. He's going to throw it all out there. He didn't like the verse he picked for their wedding.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's been bopping around his head for a while.
Yeah.
Now, there's some symbolism to his change of heart, but here's what he wrote. I want to know what you think of this. He said, somebody suggested that we read at the ceremony a passage from the Old Testament book of Ruth, one that we heard read or sung at almost every wedding at the time. Is this ringing a bell yet? You know what he's going to do? Because
I
this
think
does
so.
not ring a bell for me. No one I,
I
knew
think
did
so.
this.
Probably Ruth's proposal to Boaz.
No, actually.
No.
In the King James Version, it would read this way. It's Ruth 1:16. Whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest,
Oh, no, that's what she says to her mother-in-law.
Yeah.
I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. I need to use lodgest way more often. Wherever thou lodgest.
Surely thou dost.
And he said it's about the young widow Ruth, as Daria pointed out, from Moab, pledging to her dead husband's mother, Naomi, that she would go with her to Naomi's homeland of Israel. I believe then and still do that all the scripture is profitable and inspired, but at the time he said, it's not about marriage. It's about someone taking a trip with his mother-in-law. With her mother-in-law. I don't want that right at my wedding because I believe in the literal Bible. That's not about weddings. Meanwhile, everybody picks 1 Corinthians 13. Not about weddings at all or marriage at all. And so what he said, though, over time is that essentially the symbolism of that story, he said, in the biblical account, Naomi, grieving the death of her sons, insists that both her daughters-in-law stay behind in Moab, where they can start their lives over again. Ruth, though, was committing before God to walk into a future completely unknown to her. And so were we. If you had asked those two kids back on the altar in Biloxi, Mississippi, it's him and his wife, one of us 22 years old, the other 20, what our life story would be, we wouldn't have predicted how much we would laugh together. I'm not sure we would have predicted how 30 years later we would still want to be around each other all the time. We wouldn't have known what it would be like to hold each other after getting the phone call about a father's death, or what it would be like to feel the other trembling in tears after a miscarriage. We wouldn't have known what it would be like to trek out together to a Russian orphanage to adopt 2 little boys, nor what it would be like to see in a hospital room our other 3 boys who came to us in a more typical way. What we really would not have predicted, though, is how, just like in the story of Ruth, so much of our story would be made up not in those big moments, but in the very small, ordinary ones. The fleeting encounter in the gleaning field, the midnight meeting in the threshing place, the birth of a baby. A little poetic.
Mm-hmm.
What he's kind of saying is, yeah, it's not about marriage, but it's about a commitment where you go, I'm going to go.
Exactly.
And we're going to go together. And he's like, why was I such a Bible nerd when it's a beautiful example of what we've done over 30 years? How does that resonate with you guys? Do you like that?
Yeah, I like it. You don't really see a marriage ceremony and how it's supposed to happen in the Bible, and like you should say this and this is what you should read to each other. So the principles still apply.
Yeah, I've never thought of that passage as a wedding passage because, again, it's not. But after, almost 21 years of marriage now, really all we could have known in hindsight is okay, we're going to go that direction together.
Right.
No idea what's going to come. In fact, any idea that I have of what's coming is totally wrong.
Yeah. As you look back now, you see that. Boy, I was looking in the total wrong direction.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I had my way by now, I'd probably be getting real close to being a high school principal somewhere.
Hmm.
If I had my way, somewhere in the suburbs of Minneapolis,
Mm-hmm.
not too far from where my family is now in Minnesota. God had different plans,
Yes.
and that's somewhat of what this commitment was. And it's beautiful.
Mhm.
Although I can resonate with his kind of cynical attitude. It's not about marriage.
I totally
You
have
want a
that.
trip with your mother-in-law.
Yeah, I would totally have that.
And I think it's giving us freedom to see some of the beauty of Scripture for what it is.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. Maybe something to think about if someone in your life is getting married soon.